This is the luxury world. Get inspired with us today and tomorrow. With so many type and styles of watches on the market, understanding the basic watch terms will help you better comprehend their features and operations. It's also an extra effort to choose which watch suits the best for you, especially when you select many watch brands that the market has to offer. Many people call themselves watch enthusiasts. Yet, if you asked each one of them to list some intriguing facts about timepieces, you'd probably receive a different answer. Although watches have been around for more than 200 years, little has changed in the way they work. Most watches have a tightly wrapped mainspring to drive a four-wheel gear train that carefully matched ratios to which the hands are attached. High-end watchmakers have gone to significant efforts to differentiate their watch brands from competitors' offerings despite having comparable internal workings. The level of skill and time put into creating these luxury timepieces sets them apart from their consumer competitors, and these elements can drastically raise their prices. In everyone's life, there is a turning point where they perform one straightforward evaluation and desire a stylish and nice watch, but this decision can vanish swiftly as the night changes. There's more to your trusted watches than meets the eye, whether you use them to keep track of time while on the road or a must-have piece for fashion. In today's video brought to you by The Luxury World, we will be discussing the things that every watch fan has to know before they start collecting, whether you are a newbie or just starting getting into watches. If you still have not subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to do it now so you can stay updated on our future videos. We will be starting off to discuss the pricing now. While anything you consider to be expensive, we can recalibrate it immediately. A decent watch that you can buy in the market can cost $10, yet you can also spend $10 million on a quality watch. If you take the average, you will see that a lot more people than you might anticipate are enjoying this hobby. In some cases, you can take a $5,000 watch, which is a good value and still considered as affordable. Manufacturing watches is all about putting in most of the time and effort, so spending money on the remainder of the result is the way to go. A superb watch is available for $500, but you can purchase a pretty good one for $50,000 with much better quality and trade-off value. So, investing in a watch becomes a little more than an impulsive purchase as a reward for yourself for whatever reason you have considered as worth rewarding. When it comes to buying a watch, it always requires you cash or enough finance on hand. But if you desire to borrow money for anything, it's worse than enjoying the watch that you purchased yourself. It's not a wise decision to take out a loan with a high interest rate and put up with a stretch payment merely for some metal that you strap and make use of on your wrist. Finance with interest-free payments you have no trouble managing, so for sure, you will give it a try. But always remember that you should not buy something that you cannot afford. Watch collector. The emphasis on the term watch collector is the implication of owning more than just one watch. Maybe there's a sense that only owning one watch is a bit casual, like the number of watches you own is somehow directly associated with your personal preferences. Some people prefer to have an enormous watch collection. The true cause of people ending up having a lot of watches is mainly due to the journey of how they acquired their watches and the things they have done before ending up getting a watch. Apart from it, the watch is now part of the dressing that distracts us from thinking too hard about the point of our existence. Sometimes the watch becomes a status symbol as well as a fashion icon that well represents our individuality. Power or mechanism. The next one is the power that fuels the watches. It's a choice for you to pick between quartz or mechanical timepieces. What we are talking about here is the driving force of the watch. Most watches in the market these days are powered by a battery, and this is not just simply for watches, but also for most things as they are also powered by batteries after all. With a quartz watch, however, it's a closed-loop system where, unlike mobile phones, there is a phone signal that makes sure that the time remains accurate and some of the battery power is used to charge a literal piece of quartz. The quartz vibrates with the accuracy of a Switch watch, which is better and existed a long time before all the advancement of technology took place. Mechanical watches are instead powered by a wound spring and kept accurate with another spring. You might have heard that some people suggest the idea of having a watch that can be both mechanical and automatic. The automatic watch and the mechanical watch are almost the same. An automatic watch is a mechanical watch where the spring that stores the power is wound by a swinging weight that moves when you move. Some of the traditional watches today are mechanical watches that were around manually via the crown. The greatest secret of wristwatches today compared to their original ancestors, which is the pocket watch, is the ability to retain its location on the wrist. Pocket watches were kept inside the pockets because balancing them on the wrist was completely impractical back then, and they kept on falling off. It happens not until someone conceptualizes welding bits of wire to them and securing two buckled strips of leather. And there you have it. We have now the wristwatch that we know to this date. Fashioning the pocket watch into a small decorative belt for the lower arm was considered well-cooled by the gentlemen of the early 20th century, while the wristwatches before were seen as impractical. It continued to evolve and metal bracelets prevailed, then began to replace leather straps somewhere towards the mid-century. Fast forward to the present, dive watches are now favoring steel and leather straps are now for preferences. They are consumable items, so it's a personal choice whether you go for a steel or a leather strap. Materials. Most watches are made of steel because it's expensive enough to last without turning your wrist green and cheap enough to avoid prices that will make you choke. You can buy watches made from titanium ceramic carbon fiber that were even chosen for practical benefits like its durability and lightness and how it looks cool when worn on your wrist. Gold, though it is softer than steel, it's certainly more expensive. We have seen it all natural in the same color as steel, as if anyone can visually tell the difference without invading your personal space or preference. Does it resemble the enduring query about why we wear shirts with a collar? It's because it adds something to the tie, and deck dressing are a lovely thing to do in our own right. Choosing options. The process of selecting options for a watch is detrimental as picking a car as opposed to a car, where some options are useless in any case. With the watch, you need to take all the options that are available because everything should always be according to your preferences, whether what type of watch is going to be your go-to watch every day or which watch is better to wear on a special occasion. It's comparable to the pieces of jewelry that are opted to use to where it's suitable to use. Brands. Rolex, Omega, Patek Philippe, Breitling, Tag Heuer, and Audemars Piguet. These are watch brands that most people will have heard of since back then. This is not just the tip of the iceberg. There are tons of other watch brands to choose from, but the names that we just mentioned are the in-demand watches that we have in the current watch market. There are good and bad all over the place, but most people stick to the well-known brand because it's safer and more sensible. But we cannot blame other people who are also preferring to buy inexpensive ones and like to spend less. However, there's always a risk. So it's worth taking if you take more time to research on your own, but you stand to do far better based on how much you can be bothered. It takes patience, effort, and wise decisions to go for which brand will make you satisfied all over the watch. Used watches. When it comes to watches, some people prefer to buy used watches as starters. Pre-owned is a term that refers to a modern or contemporary timepiece that has previously been worn or at least owned by another person. It's a nicer way of saying used, which regrettably implies hard use as if the previous owner wore the watch while using a jackhammer, which is frequently not the case. It's as if the watch has not been worn out but is in mint condition. A great way to find contemporary timepieces that are hard to find new is to buy pre-owned watches. Sure, buying a watch like Rolex now for a third of its used value is a clear winner, but given the light condition, we are not sure why anyone would put off a used watch for much less money. Best investment. This is where the fact of using the watch as an investment came into the picture. Compared to everything else, we are frequently seeing questions like this. What is the finest watch I should purchase? Yes, investment is the solution. There's the historical watch chart data, or wherever trends and patterns you study while you choose the timepiece you believe will produce the highest profit. If you buy an older watch, you are likely to enjoy it over a few years for very little cost anyway, and that's good enough to expect it to keep you in a free supply. What do you think is going to leave you not just full but satisfied? Watches are supposed to be enjoyable as well. Go ask yourself if it's worth compromising that choice over an investment. What are your thoughts about the things every watch enthusiast should know that we shared in this video? Do you agree with them or disagree? We would like to see your answers and opinions in the comment section. If you liked this video, we will be glad if you let us know that too. Don't forget to follow us and give us a thumbs up. Once again, this is The Luxury World, and we look forward to seeing you again in our next videos.